here we are, back to live action. Well, almost live, because I'm definitely going to start going live on this. I just want to, just check the scene for things right now and see how this thing is recorded. I got another phone that I think is a little bit more heavy duty so it can handle the processing. But wow, I mean, there's a lot going on, and I really wanted to get on this today and let everyone know today is a new day. Like today, as it loads up, there's going to be something different that happens from here, that we will return to ourselves. And I really want to remind you about something, about a few things. Like the first important thing I think you should realize is when they say mysticism, I'm going to tell you something about mysticism. What's being referred to is the mist. And since many people like to confirm things with their eyes, this is a great exercise for you, that if you get out here about, right when the sun rises in your area, that just depends on where you're at on the equator. Right before then, if you can somehow get the sun coming in and you look up into the air, maybe you can even use, if you don't have a good humidity in the air, you probably can use a humidifier. You get the mist going, and then you start taking your breaths in the bed, and then you start looking up. And what you'll notice is you'll notice that you're able to change the directions of the mist based on your mind. Like if you say, turn it this way, turn it that way. If you say, oh, it looks like a Toyota field. Now, of course, you need to get up there a little bit, because this is what low vibration does. Low vibration doesn't allow you to see the mist. It doesn't allow you to see, let's say, the magic in the whole thing, and how everything's controlled by our mind, and how let's say, for instance, if you inherit a dark state of consciousness from whatever's going on, let's say in the world at large, you start watching that stuff. And then you start, thinking like that, and that starts getting into your mist. Then you actually start drawing this geometric field around yourself that is just responding to what you're projecting, and then so thus you see through that lens. And the interesting part about it is that term, the lens, like how many lenses we have to really see things. Like with a camera, let's say camera operates on a single lens and the shutter. The human has multiple lenses within lenses that allow it to see these different things. And so I wouldn't even, I was trying to figure out, what should I even call it? Because I tried to address it as, man, it was an eye. And they were like, nah, this is not an eye. Like the eye is the two things that you're using in the world. What you're using right now to see this has another title. We're not even gonna, elaborate on those titles, because it doesn't matter, meaning that, hey, stop putting things in the binds of the limitation of your two eyes, which is a geometric thing, like you see in the Eye of Horus, the 1/4, the 1/8, like that whole design, it has its limitations. It's the physical world. So if you're ready to see beyond, or get ready to see beyond non-physical, these are the phases. The mist is one of the phases is the last phases that you see before things, you can't visualize them with these two eyes. But the power of seeing it with these two eyes, though, because these two eyes are the consciousness that was formed in this world, is seeing is believing for that being. So it becomes convinced, okay, I'm changing my field around me. Now, one of the deepest things that I saw this morning was in relation to the elders. And, this is a special one out to my mother, that the elders have to understand that right now what's going on is they need to be conditioned, or they're being conditioned, or they should have been conditioned, or they were always conditioned. These are all the tenses of time. To what I would say is, and I just kind of lost my train of thought for a minute just thinking about time, but let me get back on the track of the flow. See, they will transition into the youth of their family lineage, right? So I was watching this transformation in the mist, and how even my mother was transferring into my daughter. And that may sound crazy to people, but first of all, this is genetics, this is codes. But when you're using that lens, I'll just call it that, you can literally see it. And man, I was thinking about, like, okay, here's another thing. So obviously they just had the Easter, right? And of course, what Easter is like, if you're on the equator, you can kind of see more of the stars and what's going on with them, right? And one of the things that you could notice bigger than everything is that Venus, as they call it, was coming straight up so close to the sun every morning. And at first it started really bright, and then now it's still there, but it's starting to fade back away like the normal star, right? So of course, see, a navigator, what a navigator is going to do is learn how to navigate these oceans, this sea, this water. Let me reset this. Navigator is going to learn how to navigate this ocean, this sea, this water. And they're going to learn how to go with the flow of the energy that's moving on a massive cosmic scale. What you're looking at in the sky is not what most people think. Let me just explain it to you. Let me break it down. Hold on, check this out real quick. You see it again. There's the sky, right? And what the sky is, just so you understand the reality, flat earthers, you're gonna love this, because it's gonna simplify this stuff for you real good, right? So what this is actually, when I really delve deep into finding it out, that means I go into another body, and then I go and I dive into this thing, and I try to get answers to questions. And because the field is fully morphogenic, any questions that you ask, they're immediately answered. It's just all about your own consciousness. If you're afraid in there, if you don't know how to relax, and all those other preparatory phases, then you won't be seeing that. Just like not anyone going on ayahuasca or anyone going on DMT or whatever is going to have some massive experience. It's just all about it being synchronized just for you. And one of the things that has been really coming through is understanding that, okay, so where you're at literally is in a seed, okay? We can call that a bubble, but it wouldn't be a perfect sphere as we know it. It would be more like what seeds look like and beings look like, right? And that kind of structure itself, what that is doing is it's actually inside of what we would understand as water. Okay, so this is a bubble, okay, inside of water. I'm just going to make it you understand it from a clear tense of how we use words today, okay? And what's on the outside of this is actually the ocean, in the tense of how we know an ocean. It is like they talk about, they're always trying to find water out there because they know that there's life. Actually, there's nothing but water out there. And in the event that the vault opens, all the water comes in. And so what Genesis really is actually the end of this prophecy or program that they want to run. Because so the end starts in the beginning. And then the end, the beginning talks about this deluge, right? And that's actually supposedly the end, because the vault actually will open. And the souls, the beings, the seeds that have been growing will go free. And the goal is for them to be at the level of maturity to where they're ready to come out of the seed. Okay, so that's what's happening. So while we're inside of the seed, all of what you see here, every single thing, nothing excluded, is actually all the part of one being. So animals, humans, everything else are all germinations of the same seed, but still in their seed themselves separate, like the liver and the kidney and all of those different parts, because in a sense they are separate. They're responsible for growing different parts of the entire being, right? So peep out what's going on. So what happens, of course, inside the seed, like, so this is a sealed dome, a sealed vault, okay? And obviously you will have forces that will want to try to open this up so that way we can be exposed to the ocean before time. And the reason why, just so you to understand the galactic ocean, right? Now, see, in our ocean, so you can understand the scale of what we're talking about. In our ocean, there's some big creatures out there. There's some, I mean, whales, you've seen them, but as you go deeper and deeper, there's some large squid, you know, with massive brains, right? So that's just our ocean. Now, outside of this, if you can imagine how much infinite space is outside of this, because it's all being still projected from the mist of massive levels of consciousness. So it's projecting so far that the beings that are able to grow in there, the size of them could be huge. But here's another thing that I realized about the mist. That not only, like, that's why they say, hey, when you die, then you'll join back with whatever what everything is, right? Because yes, when you do leave here, your particleization goes right into that wave that you're always a part of and is everything. So it goes in there, but it also remains still conscious of itself. And then what it does is it harmonizes and gravitates around the things that it is like. And that's how actually life comes into existence. That's how humans are even formed. They are coalesced bonds of ideas, projections, memories, desires, etc., actually becoming solid for what we would see in the density of this reality, but still be particles according to what they truly are, being able to move through everything and are moving through everything and could have awareness if they choose to. So I wanted to say to you that today, for all the people who have ever listened to what I've said and what I've taught, and I've always been really meticulous about how it's presented. Like I present things, I'm not playing checkers, I'm playing chess here. So it has to be spaced out. Like if you're going to teach someone something, it's got a first grade, second grade, third grade. You got to go through those processes. You just can't go elephant gun with it and, oh, this is the Anunnaki and blah, 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 and we're gods and blah, blah. And then people are still sitting at the house eating, drinking Mountain Dew and it's eating Rice Krispie treats. You have to tell them about the entire process, and that's what this has been. That's what I've been a part of, and that's what you've been a part of with us co-creating together. And so what's about to happen now is I've decided that I'm going to fully activate on the dimension. That I've seen enough. Like realistically, just as there can be craziness, there can be great things. Just as there could be a highlight of craziness only, there could be a highlight of great things only then. Right? It's like watching the world's Humans Are Awesome 2017 videos on YouTube and leaving that thing on autoplay and just letting it really sink in on you how you're on the bench right now, and we want to get you out there. So I want to say to all those people who, well, this is all of us that can make a difference in what's happening in the world, let's do this. What you need, I got for you. We're unfolding a massive situation here. I'm compressing time. I'm saying 2 weeks. We're rolling out with ways to get people employed. We're rolling out with real spirit tech to deal with grimy situations going on in low vibratory spheres. And we won't wage any kind of wars that they wage. We're coming in with the healing. We're coming in with the abundance. We're coming in with the fertility, right? Because that's what this whole week has really been about. So tap into your mist. And last week, tap into your mist. Realize all the time that what's the field that's around you is being controlled by what you think. So you shouldn't let things control what you think, right? You can observe. Don't stick your head in the sand. But emotional, chemical changes within your body because of what you're looking at, stay your course, stay your mission, stay in the course of the flow, navigate the ocean, okay? Learn how to navigate it so when you get out there, you know what you're doing. And I'll close out with that. So what happens is, so when you get into the cosmic ocean, it's like your vessel is on the water, right? And you now need to know how to sail or you get shipwrecked. So you need to realize how the essences are basically moving, because then you can always ride on the top of the wave. You'll know exactly when it's time to plant, exactly when it's time to go away, exactly when it's time to come back. You'll know exactly when it's time to do every single thing under the sun, which is a lot. Like a lot of people think they shortchange that. They're like, oh yeah, everything under the sun. Like there's nothing new under the sun. And then they're like, okay, but did you learn any of what was going on under the sun? There's a lot going on here. So what I'm saying is that as you realize what is going on is programmed actually in the stars, and that just as soon as Venus came through here and all the fertility started, people started having more energy, and they wasted their energy on CNN. They started actually feeling a little bit more hornier and, you know, just feeling like they're really about life, got to figure it out. Taxes came through. So see how everything is lined up at that moment of the energy exchanges, right? So that's why they pumping it up, the North Korea, which is like a film set, and the Trump and all this stuff, right? And then meanwhile, the mist that we have is being used to program that reality and to terrorize not only us, but other people with it when we can completely change it. And that is the new program, is that we program the dream, the dreams within a dream.